Muhammad Umar Farooq biological video. Please make sure to subscribe, like and share. Ask the question for answer and comment about the artwork. So in this video we will talk about the sport in plant with the different stages of the plant. So as the cholenchymatous cells in plant give spore to the baby plant and sclerenchymatous cells to the adult. So it means the cholenchyma are present in the initial stage of the plant, and the next is when secondary growth will be occur. There's the sclerenchymatous cells to the will arise to conversion in the adult plant. So I draw a cell. That's here's nucleus and here's the vacuole are present and cell wall is present is here. So here's the two cells which that are one is the turgidity due to the excess of water in the 1 second, and the one is less turgidity due to the lack of water. There's a water is the very important for the sport of plant. So here is the wilt of the leaf, and here is the turgid and erect very sported leaf. So here the water will be go inside toward the less water into the vacuole or a movement of water is that is the turgor pressure will arise in the cell and turgidity will be produced, and the cell will be plant will be erect by a turgor pressure. So here another is that the cholenchyma and sclerenchyma cells comprised heavily lining cells in cortex and xylem tissue spore to the plant. So in this way, here is the cholenchyma cells which that are basically is the transverse section is here. So here is the basically I draw a transverse section of the cholenchyma cells. The cholenchyma cells is basically sport in the plant which that are cholenchyma is the living cells which provide the sport, and there's the herbaceous plant which that are sportive in the turgor due to the excess water in the cell, and that's known is a tonoplast. That's the here's the cholenchyma, and there's the transverse section, and longitudinous section is present is over here. So the between the white color shows that the lumen. There's the lumen contain a vacuole, nucleus and cytoplasm. It means that's a living cells in the other sense. So the thickened pectin and cellulose cell are present. The basically cellulose with that are present in the cell wall. There's the angular thickening of the cellulose are present in the and pectin for the thickness in the angular way of the cell that is present is over here. And the sclerenchyma fibers we will talk about the in next. But the sclerenchyma basically is here is the we will talk about the cholenchyma. That's the basically living, and that's sport to the herbaceous plant. And herbaceous mean there's no secondary growth and no xylem are present. That's non-woody plant which that's supported by the cholenchyma. So I hope you make concept about the cholenchyma cells which that are initial, and there's the here is the pit are present, that is simple pit which that is the very important. The pit mean there's the cytoplasmic connection, the cytoplasmic conduction, basically the cytoplasmic conduction of water, mineral and some other nutrients cell to cell pathway, that is due to the pit. That the pit are present between the cells is the very important things. So here the longitudinal section which that shows that the a very high size of the cell. So cholenchyma cells is the showing is here. Now we will talk about the another cells, another structure of the basically sclerenchyma fibers. That is the sclerenchyma fibers is the basically sclerenchyma cells is composed with the fiber, sclerids and vessels. That means the tracheid fibers are tracheids and sclerids are trachea. That's basically, they have thick secondary cell wall, usually impregnated with lignin. That means lining, an organic substance that make the wall tough and hard. Most of the sclerenchyma cells are non-living. They are non-living as compared to the cholenchyma, and their primary function is to provide spore to the plant part. So there are three types of sclerenchyma we will talk about in next, but we should focus in this. Here's the uh, linified cell wall that are present is here, and there's a linified cellulose composing with the lining deposition is the linification. That process is known as linification, and that's the simple bit are present between the cell to cell for the conduction, but they are the basically uh, in the form of fiber. That's the sclerenchyma fiber. So that's fiber is shown in the transverse section. So here I will talk about the another, that's a vascular bundle. Basically we will talk about the vascular bundle containing the xylem, are tough and inextensible to bending. So the inextensible to the bending of the plant due to the vascular bundle that's composed of these cells. So another is the here is the basically sclerenchyma sclerids which that are present is here. That is the sclerenchyma, basically sclerenchyma cells. So sclerenchyma cells is the basically non-living, and I have talked about the before. Here's a fiber was, and here's the sclerenchyma basically present, and here's the branch pit, and there's a lumen are present, and lignified cell wall, a linified cell wall are present, and here is the sclerenchyma. Basically sclerids are sclerenchyma cells, secondary cell wall impregnated with lining and organic substance that make the wall hard and non-living. And basically they are non-living and give a hardness due to the lining substance that make the wall hard. So another is the basically we will talk about the sclerenchyma is composed with the fiber, sclerid, and vessels. Now we will talk about the basic concept about the fibers. So fiber is the basically long thread, while sclerid is the minor thread, basically very short as compared to fiber, but their difference is not too much. But their difference is not too much. Here is the rounded shape is known as a pit, and the inner side is a lumen, and here is the sclerid which that are smaller, shorter, which that is the cross section, that's a transverse section is here, and there's the protection for the seed, and there the protection seed. But fiber is in other case is the present for the conduction of water in the form of xylem. So they are the present in the xylem. So it's the different, it's very simple to understand about the sclerenchyma cells which compose trachea, tracheid, fiber, sclerids. Trachea, tracheid, fiber, sclerids, that is the basic. Trachea, tracheid, fiber, sclerids, that's is very easy to memorize it. So is the first of all trachea is a vessel, and tracheid is in the form of short fiber that is known as interconnect to each other, and fiber is in the form of xylem fiber, and that's a long thread, and sclerid is in the form of brachysclerids or filiform sclerids, osteosclerids, and there's the seed coat, our coconut seed which that are protected by the this type of sclerids basically. So here the lumen are present, and here is the macrosclerids and asterosclerids which that are in the form of star shape, in the form of osteosclerids, in the form of bone shape, and macrosclerid in the form of bigger than the other. So here is the basically the structure of here. Now we will talk about the parenchyma cell. The parenchyma cells is basically living, and there are very important qualities that are present in the herbaceous plant. And there's parenchyma cells contain cytoplasm, and there's a basically intercellular space, and sap vacuole are present, and say is the primary cell wall is present and cytoplasm is present. And here's the upper part is the basically for conduction of water is the plasmodesmata is present, and between the plasmodesmata the between the cells are present in the basically um, lamella, which that is known as middle lamella, which that is shown in the green color. And there's between lamella is produced during the cytokinesis. That cytokinesis means the cell division. So is the cytoplasmic um, interconnection which that are present, and their sport is due to the water turgor pressure and due to the living. So xylem is not present, and that's the herbaceous plant is quality. Thanks for watching.